should be. I mean, I'm saying it is unless I do it.
Should be good.
You're good? Okay.
Okay. Continue.
Thank you. So I think I did locate a section that appears to be the same section in Exhibit 18. It's at the back in the black binder, Exhibit 18, page 26 of that exhibit.
Did you want me to answer the last question or no?
I would, yes.
Oh, okay. The last question you asked me about, did I follow up with Mr. Massey? I filed the grievances the first week of July, and I was suspended the next council meeting. So I didn't get a chance
when
to
did
do
the
it.
next council meeting happen?
August 13th.
Okay, so a month later?
Yes.
So they must have not been that important, right, since you didn't follow up with him in
Well,
the
they
next
had
4
an
weeks?
executive session about me, and I don't know if they were discussed in there or not, because that's when I was suspended.
So you thought that there was maybe an item, at the time that you saw the executive session, did you think that that might be about you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so why didn't you raise the issue with him then to address your grievances in an open forum?
I raised the address with the entire council. If anything is about me, I wanted an open forum.
Do you know how many times you've requested that discussion about your personnel matters happen in an open forum throughout the course of this proceeding? Of this whole, I should say, situation? How many times has that request been made by you or through council?
You mean for this public hearing?
Not for this public hearing, but I think there's a bunch of correspondences and, I think you yourself may have said it at times involving requests to hold discussions involving your performance in public.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
How many times do you think you've issued those sorts of requests?
If I had to guess, 6 or 8 times.
Okay, so you've issued requests 6 or 8 times regarding having public discussion about your performance or anything having to do with your work,
Correct.
right? You submitted grievances. Would you agree that your grievances relate to your performance, your work, your situation in the workplace?
Yes.
So it's the same topic that you're asking to be held in public forum, correct?
Yes.
So your testimony here today is that you've submitted numerous requests, at least 6 or 8, to have discussions about your performance in public, and that in the 30 days after you submitted this grievance, you didn't follow up with Mr. Massey to ask whether or not there was going to be a public forum to discuss the grievances you submitted?
I did not.
Would you agree with me that the content of the grievances, from your perspective, is serious content?
It is, and Mr. Massey had taken them to the Attorney General's office, and that was the last I heard, and then I was suspended.
So you're well versed in human resources and matters of municipal governance, correct?
I do the best I can.
Would you say that you, given your experience, that you have a confidence that you understand how the charter reads and how municipal government works?
Yes,
Right.
somewhat.
Okay, so as somebody who somewhat understands how municipal government works, why would you think that bringing personnel complaints, internal grievances to the DOJ would lead to some sort of resolution of those?
I did not instruct Mr. Massey to take those in.
Okay,
Mr. Massey did that on his own. He just called and told me that he did. I did not instruct him to take those there. You will not see that anywhere in my documents.
understood. Did you instruct Mr. Massey to do anything with the grievances?
I don't know what to do with them. I gave them to him and said, I don't know what happens next, here they are.
Okay.
And then that's what he did.
So, I mean, you'll have to, pardon me, I'll try to ask this next question as succinctly as I can. You just testified to a great number of things with a level of precision involving, the contents of all of these exhibits, the allegations against you from Mr. Campanella. You recalled that you felt like he was agitated. You remember testifying to all of that?
I do.
Right, and you had pretty precise understanding of what the explanations were and what was going on for all of these different allegations and concerns. Is that fair to say?
As I read the documents
Right.
associated with them, yes.
So you understood what the context and circumstances were for these, for some fairly complex financial issues and so on, but you didn't understand how to pursue the grievances that you filed. You just sent them to Mr. Massey and that's all you did.
I followed the handbook. That's what it told me to do, give them to Mr. Massey, and I followed that procedure.
So I'm still confused. I'll ask one more question and I'll move on from this subject. You said you followed the handbook, but you just confirmed that the handbook didn't say to file anything with the vice mayor. So in what way did you follow the handbook regarding your filing of these grievances, ma'am?
It said to file with the supervisor. I did not file with the people I filed a grievance against. So Mr. Massey is the vice mayor, the next person chain of command, and that's why I presented them to him.
Is your position today that only Mr. Massey is your supervisor, or is all of council your supervisor?
All of them.
So you continue to be of the position that you took earlier on in your cross-examination that the whole of council is your supervisor and not just Mr. Massey?
Correct.
Okay. So do you have any idea whether in fact Mr. Massey actually shared the grievances or their contents with anyone on council?
I do not know if they were shared in they were not shared in public meeting that I am aware of.
And do you recall in the email that you provided about the submission of them, which I may or may not still have a copy of in front of me? Oh, here we are. Could you turn your attention to the email, please, that was discussed where you
This is going to
emailed
be
this to
appended to Exhibit 12.
Thank you for reminding me. So here it says, Mr. Massey, please see the attached grievances I'm filing against Mr. Walton, Mr. Cessna, and Mr. Nelson. As you're aware, I previously sent Mr. Walton and Mr. Cessna, but my attorney had me make a few grammatical changes. Do you recall writing that?
I do.
Did you send these grievances because you wanted the problem solved, or was it a litigation tactic?
I sent them because I want the problem solved.
Okay.
But at this point, it was already going to be problems weren't going to get solved.
So you sent these grievances thinking that they wouldn't be solved. Is that why you didn't
I sent
report it
these
to the whole of council and just Mr. Massey, because you thought they wouldn't, that the grievances would result in nothing at all?
I sent these in the result, this is as a last resort of solving issues. That's what I sent the grievances for.
And it's your testimony today that it was a last resort that you didn't follow up on.
Correct, I was not supposed to communicate with any of the council anymore.
Understood.
And the other complaint of Mr. Cessna, I personally took to the EEOC.
And you should only not communicate, right? The indication not to communicate that you're discussing occurred a month later after your paid suspension, correct?
This
Yeah, so you sent this email in.
was in July,
And that was in July, and it wasn't until a month later that you were placed on paid suspension, correct?
the very next council meeting.
Right, so
Yes.
roughly 30 days?
Yeah, from July 10th till August 13th.
Okay, so a little bit more than 30 days.
Correct.
So in that time frame, you could freely communicate with council as you wished.
Good, yes.
I want to turn your attention to the issue of this white binder that you've been going through.
This,
Yeah, the one that's all of the exhibits marked JT. Are all of these documents, is it fair to say that all of them, or the vast majority of them, are documents that relate to town matters, their emails, their internal discussions, they're all, would you say that this is your property or the property of the town of Greenwood, the contents of this binder?
I would consider this my property.
Why is that?
Why do I consider it my property?
Yeah, because I looked at a lot of these emails, and a lot of them have emails back and forth to your personal town email address. Is that fair to say?
Yes,
So you believe that emails sent to you, to your personal town email address, are your personal property and not the property of the town?
I believe they were sent to my personal email because they pertain to me and I could see what was coming, so I started to gather documents.
So you jumped ahead a little bit. I wasn't asking why you sent things to your personal email address, although we'll get there.
Oh, okay.
My question first, which I'll please direct your attention to, was do you believe that communications with attachments involving town business of any sort sent to your town email address are in fact your property, or are they the property of the town of Greenwood?
And
To your
you're
town email
You're
address.
referencing what's in this white book?
I'm referencing anything in this white book that's a request for proposal, emails back and forth involving interactions with auditors, letters directly from PKS, summaries of whatever you were doing in the course and scope of your role as town manager, bank statements, veterinary bills about the canines, the whole lot of it, Ms. Todd. I'm asking, is this your property or the property of the town of Greenwood?
It is my property, and can you please lower your voice?
Ms. Todd,
Yes,
this is my cross-examination. I'll proceed as I deem appropriate.
and I respect you, sir, I'm just asking.
So with that said, can you please explain to me why it is that you feel that all of these things, would you disagree that these are actually items related to town business that you came into possession of in the course and scope of your role as the town manager of the town of Greenwood?
Would I disagree if these were during my time as town manager, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, meaning,
No, I would not disagree with that.
so meaning you're not gonna contest the idea that these were sent, received, you addressed them in the course and scope of your duties as the town manager,
I agree,
when you were employed and just carrying out your responsibilities?
correct.
Okay. And nevertheless, you still have the position that these are your personal property?
Correct.
Have you reviewed the section of the employee handbook relating to electronics and use of town resources?
At one point I have during my employment.
Okay. You know, I'm gonna move on from that, actually, I don't need to go there. I wanna direct your attention to, the issue of the report, and specifically allegation number 9.
Which binder are you in?
I'm in the black binder. I am at the very conclusion of the report, near the end, and I believe it's allegation 10.
Which page?
It would be Greenwood 00469.
Thank you.
Let me know when you're there, Ms. Todd.
What's the tab number?
It's tab 20.
And what page, please?
00469. It's page 26 in the exhibit itself.
Okay, I'm there.
So this allegation 10, it alludes to removal or destruction of town records at the top. You agree with me?
Yes.
Okay. So you understand that one of the things that was investigated when you received the report, when you were issued your notice of intent to separate you from your employment, that one of the issues that we're going to discuss here today was removal or destruction of town records. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you to direct your attention to another exhibit in the black binder. Exhibit 19, if you please. Have you seen this document before, Ms. Todd?
Yes.
So, towards the top, there's a sentence. It says, "You are directed to promptly turn over all town property, including but not limited to," and then there's a list of all the things, including documents, and it goes to the end, and it talks about turning over passwords and other items that are town property. You read that when you received it?
Yes.
Right. So, in your direct examination testimony, it was your position that when you first came here and pushed the door open, that you thought that you must have been terminated because the door was sealed. Do you recall saying that? Oh, I must have been fired.
Yes, that was my assumption.
Okay. So is there a reason why, if you thought you were fired, you left the premises with your town cell phone?
Because it was in my purse. I didn't realize it, but I immediately got it,
Okay.
along with keys and everything. I didn't know I was suspended when I left here.
Okay. But you said that you thought you were fired and not suspended, right?
Correct.
So if you were fired, would that mean that you would think it's appropriate to keep your cell phone? And that's why you didn't give it back before leaving?
I would not have left it without somebody acknowledging that I returned it and signed for it.
You spent an extensive amount of time, I think over a half hour, maybe 45 minutes, in and out, carrying things in and out of town hall, is that right?
That's correct.
So over that 45 or so minutes when you were here, taking things out of town hall, you didn't think that it might be appropriate to not take your town-issued cell phone?
I never even realized or thought about it being in my purse, to be honest with you.
So the cell phone, you would agree, is not your cell phone, it's the town cell phone, correct? Okay. So, understanding your position that all of the items in this white binder are in fact your property, would you also agree that the town has some property interest in them as well, because they're the town documents?
The town has some property,
Property interest in them, meaning it's maybe a joint ownership situation, like you wouldn't suggest to me that, for example, the RFP for Wigglesworth, Layton, Moyers, and Chance, and their response letter back accepting the job is solely your property, right? You'd agree that it's also the property of the town.
Correct, but that was in a council packet, it's online.
Okay, so can you tell me how many of these documents are in council packets and online versus?
Without going through the whole book, I would not know.
Okay.
Minutes, there's the audit updates, many things were in council packets.
So is there a reason why you didn't respond back to someone such as the mayor who issued this memo and say, well, I have a bunch of things that are town documents in my possession, what should I do with them?
Is there a reason I did not respond to him, was that the question?
Yeah, and with something like that, alerting the town that you still have a bunch of documents in your possession and saying, what would you like me to do with these documents?
I tried to call the mayor twice, and I had to email him to even get this document. So no, it did not cross my mind to keep trying to reach out to him.
So after you read the document, and it says, you know, because at that point in time, you hadn't received the document and read it, right? So once you got the document, read it, and it says, please return town documents and all these other items listed, nothing jogged your thought process at that time, after reading the document, to reach back out to the mayor and say, I have a bunch of documents in my possession, what would you like me to do to address these?
No, because I didn't take these documents with me that day.
Okay, so you thought that this correspondence only related to documents you took with you the day? Do you think that the members of council, when they issued this memo, knew that you were gonna go back the day after and take things from town council? From the town hall, excuse me?
I'm not sure I understand that question.
Right, so I'm trying to understand your answer to my last question, so let me rephrase. This was issued after, you know, I think it was actually voted upon to be issued that evening, but you received a copy of it that morning after the date of the suspension.
The following day in the afternoon.
That's right. So you received a copy of it that following day.
Mhm.
So here, there's a, and you understand this was pursuant to your comprehension that you said you have a pretty strong handle on how town council makes its decisions. You would agree with me that at the time this was issued, you understood this to be a directive from council that council voted on, that this directive was, they voted and they issued this. Is it fair to say you understood that?
Yes.
Okay. So when you received this and digested it with the understanding in your mind that council voted on it and issued this document, and it's a line saying, please turn over property, that's a direction from your supervisors regarding town documents. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
So at that time, there's nothing that occurred to you to say, well, I just got a direct instruction from my supervisor regarding the town's property, including documents and things of that sort. I should reach out and see what they want me to do with it. That didn't occur to you?
No, because they didn't even reach out to me to tell me I was suspended, and like I said, this was not anything that I took home with me that day.
So when, so let me flip ahead a little bit to your responses to the investigator. Do you recall the investigator asking you whether you had any documents or property of the town in your possession?
I remember him asking me if I had any property that belonged to the town in my possession is what I remember, yes.
So understanding that phrasing, and I'll, you know, give you the benefit of the doubt that that's how he phrased it. We just were discussing this, and you said while you felt this was your property, that the town also had some sort of property right or property interest in these materials. So if that's the case, understanding that that was your view of the situation, why did you not respond to the investigator and say, well, I recall that I emailed myself a bunch of things and I have a bunch of town documents in my possession? Is there a reason?
I did not recall that at the time. When he asked me items, I figured it was keys, phone, you know, material, you know, physical things that I would all return that day. I never thought in my mind about emailing anything. It didn't cross my mind.
Even though the thing that initiated this whole process said specifically documents in terms of the things that you were being asked to return, you didn't think that documents meant property as well? That or the property could mean documents?
At that time, when he asked me that, property to me was keys, cell phone, gas card, anything like that.
Okay. So let me ask you a little bit about your practice as I understand it, because you were alluding to it before. You sent yourself a whole bunch of emails with town materials. Is that accurate?
I don't know how many I sent. I did send some, but I don't know how many.
Was it a small number, like
I
one or
don't
two
know.
times?
I don't know.
If I proffer to you that you sent yourself over 20 emails with town information, would you dispute that?
I wouldn't know whether to dispute or not because I just said I don't know.
Okay.
So I couldn't verify it one way or the other.
Understood. What sort of firewall and security protection do you have in your personal email address and your personal hardware and software at home?
I don't know the answer to that either because the IT person that I know did that for me, so I don't know the answer.
Did you have like a vendor that you utilized for security of your personal devices?
I did.
Okay, and you don't recall ever talking to that vendor about whether your stuff was secure or whether
Yeah.
it was protected?
Yes, I remember talking about that, but I don't know the name of the program or,
Right,
yes.
okay,
I had to have that in order to, when they implemented the remote access where Carolyn and I could work from home, that was one of the requirements.
understood. So you had remote access to these materials then?
I used to.
Right. So you used to have remote access, but you're still sending yourself some quantities of documents to your personal email address. Is there a reason why you wouldn't just use the remote access tool instead of
I
sending?
didn't always have, we used that through COVID and a little while after it was, I haven't always had that access.
When did COVID happen?
I don't remember the year.
So if I told you it was roughly 5 years ago, would you dispute that fact? The
No.
pandemic happened 5 years ago?
If you say so.
I believe it happened around the end of 2020. I remember having a much longer haircut at the time because I wasn't getting my haircut due to fear of getting sick. So I'll suggest to you that it originated around March 2020.
Okay.
So that is prior to your time officially becoming town manager, right? And you were
Yes, thank you.
and you were the financial clerk prior to becoming town manager, right?
Correct.
So, and I'm not sure exactly when the remote access was issued, I'm relying on your memory for this. But if you had remote access from around the time of the pandemic that you can recall, that would mean that you could get any materials on the town systems by going through your remote access, right?
Whenever I had the remote access, yes, you could not access everything through remote access.
Could you get your town emails through remote access?
Yes,
Okay, so you could access your town emails remotely
yes,
from home, from your cell phone,
correct.
but you still felt the need to email a bunch of town materials, documents, what have you, to your personal Yahoo email account?
Yes, is that a question?
Yes, it is.
Yes, and if you're asking me why, I don't know, because it's the same. If I pull them out of my work email or pull them out of my personal email, it's the same to me, but
Why is it the same to you?
it's just, if I have access to it through my work email, and I can
do my work email, is that what you said?
yes, ma'am. And I can print it, but I print it from this email, to me, that's no difference, that's just my personal opinion.
Did you ever let anybody know that you were sending a bunch of items to your personal email address?
No,
You never discussed that with council?
not that, I don't believe so.
Bear with me one moment, Ms. Todd.
Can we take a short break? I have to make a phone call and
I have no objection.
that's okay?
Yeah.
Five.
That's fine.
We'll take a 5-minute break. I'm now off the record.
Yeah, that's fine.
A little concerned. I hand